We will now have a presentation from Bangladesh on trends in reproductive health services as a consequence of COVID-19 lockdowns in 2020. This will be presented by Mohammad Irfan Hussain, Senior Program Officer at Population Council in Bangladesh. Again, I would like to reiterate that our audience can ask questions in the Q&A section, and we will answer those at the end of the session.
Hello everyone, myself Mohammad Irfan Hussain. I'm a Senior Program Officer working at the Population Council Bangladesh office. Today I'm going to present a presentation of a study jointly done by myself and my fellow colleagues at the Population Council, Dr. Ashish Bajajariya, Ms. Sigma Ainul, Dr. Waidur Rao, and Dr. Shoaib Hussain. The title of our study is Trends in Reproductive Health Services in Bangladesh, Consequence of COVID-19 Lockdowns in 2020. First, I would like to tell a little bit about Population Council to you all. The Population Council is a research non-for-profit international research organization. We conduct research. Our headquarters is in New York, and we are working across 50 countries with a physical presence of country office in more than a dozen countries. Besides doing our regular research activities, we have our researchers and in-country scientists are partnering with national health ministries and other agencies, non-government organizations to deliver evidence and relevant research to control the spread of coronavirus, evaluating the effectiveness of prevention and mitigation measures, and assessing the longer-term health, social, and economic effects of the pandemic. Now, in Bangladesh, the government instituted the nationwide lockdown from March 26 to May 30 to control the community transmission of COVID-19. So, during this lockdown, all organizations, like even if it's public and private, all the offices remain closed, all the educational institutions from primary to higher secondary to university level education organizations, everything was remained closed, and people were advised to stay at home. And even if they were need to go outside, they need to practice. They were advised to practice social distancing and maintain basic hygiene practices. Public transport was limited, and we were advised to avoid them. So during this lockdown period, many organizations widely documented the impact of this pandemic and its mitigation measures on social and economic aspects of life. But very little attentions were given to the disruptions to the reproductive health and family planning services. So we thought we need to do this. So this study analyzed the publicly available routine service statistics from the government website to find the potential impacts of COVID-19 on these services. As I mentioned earlier, we just analyzed monthly service statistics from Directorate General of Family Planning of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare of Bangladesh, and we considered the data from January to December 2020, as well as data for January to December 2019 as well. And for the reproductive health side, we considered following these it's almost 11 services. So for the antenatal care, we considered the first 4 visits. For the postnatal care, we consider first 4 visits. For institutional delivery service, we consider normal delivery service statistics, C-section services statistics, and active management to third labor management services as well. For the family planning side, we consider the distribution and provision of the following methods. Like for the short acting, we consider the distribution of pill, condom, injectables. For the longer acting and reversible contraceptives, we consider intrauterine devices and implants. And for the permanent method, we consider the service statistics for thebectomy and non-scalpel vasectomy. So all these service statistics were considered both from the public and private sector providers as well. And these are all available in our government website. So as I mentioned earlier, we consider the 2019 data. So it will, comparing these 2 years data will help us to find out whether there exists any seasonal trends or not. as this research paper is based upon secondary analysis of publicly available data, so no institutional review board or ethical review board permissions was sought. Also, it exempts us for MSF's ethical review board permission as well. Now moving to the results slides, as you are seeing in the slide on the right hand side, we have the service statistics for the antenatal care services. All like the green one is reflecting the first antenatal care visit. The dark blue one is representing the second antenatal care visits, and as well the other two. So we are seeing a clear disruptions happen at the beginning of the April, because the lockdown was imposed at the end of the March, and the lockdown remained at the end of the May. So if you see in the graph, so clear disruption to these four services are clearly presented through this graph. And after the lockdown, when it is lifted up, all the services are going back to the normal thing, normal as like in the pre-pandemic level. And at the end of the year 2020, like in the November and December, we are seeing they came back to the normal level. Now in this slide, we present the percentage changes of these four antenatal care visits considered to what they have been in the 2019. So we are seeing, so like almost all of these services came back down to 40% to what they have been in 2019. And at the end of year 2020, we are seeing they came back to next to normal, but still there are 10% gap to what they have been in 2019. For the postnatal care visits, all these four services, we are seeing a clearly negative trend that started at the start of the lockdown period, so beginning of April, and things are getting back to normal from June to July, and at the end of year 2020, they came back to normal, but not in that level that we have seen in the antenatal care services. When you see the percentage changes compared to the 2019, we see there are still 20 to 25% still changes happen when considered to the 2019 data for the postnatal care visits. Now, considering the delivery services, like here we consider these three services: normal delivery service, C-section delivery service, and active management of the third labor. So all these three services are not that much impacted by the lockdown. What we have seen for the antenatal care visits or the postnatal care visits in the earlier slides. But when we compare this with the 2019 data, we see a substantial differences for these three services. But at the end of the year, they are close to almost 5% level. So there is just 5% difference between the 2019 and 2019 data when we consider the month of December. Now we are seeing here two graphs for the family planning side. On the left side, we are presenting the distribution of the shorter acting family planning method, which are basically pills and condoms. So there we are seeing for both of these methods, negative trend is happening, but from June to July, things are getting well, and at the end of December, things are close to the normal level. Normal is what we have seen in the pre-pandemic level. On the right side, we have the number of injectable acceptors. But this is very much affected by the lockdown considered to what we have seen for the pill and condoms, and things are rising, but not that much that we have seen for the pill and condoms. Now in this slide, we are seeing the longer acting reversible contraceptives like the intrauterine devices and implants provision and the permanent method acceptors number. So what is, I mean, here we can see there is a clear disruption for the implant acceptors, because the provision of these is much higher than the other methods as well. It's like if you consider in the pre-pandemic period, the implant acceptance number was very high. So it was very much affected due to the lockdown, and things are getting well when the lockdown was lifted up, and it came more than pre-pandemic level in the December. But when we consider the percentage change compared to the 2019, this is a complicated graph. Sorry for that, because we are just showing all the 7 methods together. But here we are seeing most of the services came back to normal level. But considering the non-stable STEMI, it is affected very much. If you can see, this is also struggling to came back to its normal level, and still it is almost 30% less than what we have seen in 2019. So far, we have shown you what we have found from the secondary analysis from the service statistics. So we wanted to find out what are the causes, underlying causes of this. So we made some dig up in the media news coverage, and also we talked informally to our government level professionals who are working at the field level, where our regular research works are ongoing. So we came up with some findings that we think that may be connected to the disruption that we have seen in this secondary analysis. So what we have come up with is restricted mobility of clients as well as service providers may be a plausible cause for this disruption. We also found fear among pregnant women and communities of COVID-19 infection if they go to the healthcare facilities. We also find financial barriers may be a reason. Lack of safety equipment and mitigation measures at the facilities can also account for these disruptions. Also, there is a challenge between the coordination between the service providers and the authorities for the continuation of regular services, because COVID-19 came all on a sudden, so there wasn't any standard of procedure to follow. So for this reason, we mainly think the disruptions happened during the past lockdown period. But as you see, when the lockdown lifted, the standard procedures have been improvised in all the facility level. Fear and stigma, negative attitudes due to COVID-19 within communities towards their service providers, these are all came in the published news, and we see in media coverage of all of these type incidents. So this backed up with our this reason. Disruption in contraceptive supplies combined with insufficient qualified personnel to distribute family planning method, this can be a viable reason for this family planning disruption, because it was not a priority during the COVID-19 period. The family planning method supply was not on the priority list. So based upon all of these this secondary analysis, we came up with the following recommendation for the improvement of the maternal health related services. We think that we should have develop some targeted intervention, which will like to promote uptake of the maternal health services from the facility amid the fear of the COVID-19. We have to monitor and routinely analyze facility services statistics and to find out which facilities are doing well and which are not. Then we have to take some actions based upon our findings. We have to develop standard operating procedures, and that should be available in all levels. And which we think is very important. We have to incentivize the healthcare providers, which as they are continuing their services during this pandemic level. And every facility should be equipped with personal protective equipments and safety guidelines, so that service providers can be confident to provide the services. And if possible, we need to have dedicated research, like questioning the service providers and also the receivers, and to find out the factors that may be affecting in both supply and demand side. And we have to understand the barriers that the clients are facing to access the maternal services from the facilities, and we have to ensure evidence-based adaptation of these services. For the family planning side, we have similar sort of recommendations, like the dedicated research and monitor the routinely analyzed facility service statistics that discussed just in the earlier slide. And we have to resume the outreach services, which is a part of government's regular duty. Like we have frontline health workers who are working in the field. They working in the field who goes door to door to counsel and provide family planning services. So we have to resume that outreach, and we have to build a protocol like for a pandemic like COVID-19, if happens, how we can deal with that. And we have to develop some similar intervention to make things normal for the family planning method distributions as well. So what can be done next? From this study, we already published two dedicated research briefs. One focused on maternal health, and another one is focused on family planning, and these are all available in our website. We also did a subnation level analysis where we just produced which districts, like which administration level are doing well and which are not in providing family planning and maternal health, and these are shared with the government level stakeholders so that they can take necessary actions. And due to the new variant of COVID-19 and more restricted lockdowns are improvised by the government, so we are planning to continue with same level of analysis utilizing the 2021's data as well. I would like to acknowledge the contribution of my fellow colleagues and also, but not for the least, the family welfare assistants who are the frontline providers of the government and who are diligently collecting this data and inputting this data for which this study is possible. Thank you. You can ask me any question now, or if you have any question later, you can email me or you can tweet to my tweet handle. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We do have some questions. So one question is, do we also have some information about children's immunization? Was that also impacted due to COVID?
Sorry, I mean the website that we have access, the government website that we have access, that is dedicated to the family planning, because as I mentioned, this is Directorate General of Family Planning website, so they do not have the vaccination information over there. But we do have a separate website for that. But our focus was only when we have done this study. This is like it's a rapid action we have taken, and our focus is only for the family planning and the maternal and child health, like this antenatal care, family planning care, postnatal care, and the deliveries. So we haven't paid attention to the vaccination coverage. Maybe we can do in this 2021. Thanks for this bringing up this idea.
Thank you. We have a question. What are new intervention techniques to access FP services during third wave of COVID? Family planning services.
The first thing that I have mentioned, like because of the absence of the standing operating procedures, even in the field level, the frontline workers were also, and their supervisors were not clear about how to carry on their regular way of work, like the outreach services. So the intervention can be like sensitizing them how to deal with this pandemic situation, how to do outreach services during this pandemic situation, maybe providing them and incentivizing them can be a good level of intervention. Another thing is like considering mHealth is the right mobile health or seeking services through telephone is getting popular day by day in Bangladesh as well, but these are mostly for the general health side, not for the family planning thing. So that can be another thing that we can propose to the stakeholders. Thank you.
Sorry, we have one more question from Abhiram Joyce. He's asking, he's conducting a similar research about how COVID-19 pandemic lockdown affected maternal child health care. He's asking for any suggestions, and he's working in Bangalore, Karnataka, specifically in India.
Well, because I have been given only 20 minutes of time to present, so we haven't show you the sub-national level analysis that can be done. Because if you are working with Karnataka state, you can divide it into the more small level of geographical level of analysis. So that can be helpful for your state governor to take actions which particular area needs your immediate attention. So that can be one thing. Comparing with the previous years, which definitely will help you to to come up with the percentage changes that can give you a sense like how things are going on. Yeah, that's it. Like comparing with the previous year's data and subnational level things, that's the two things that you can do. And if you can show them with in maps, and that will really help the stakeholders to understand. Like besides producing only the briefs, if you show them through a map like this particular year and use your immediate action, that will help your stakeholders to understand what you are saying. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your research and those recommendations. I'm sure our audience will have very important takeaways, especially when the world is still struggling to cope in a pandemic. Thank you so much, Mr. Hossain.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity as well.